So this is a photo that a friend of mine, Nikki, took in Thailand, I believe, and today I'm going to be painting it, my version of it. Go ahead and prime the top of your canvas with some thin white paint. Coming in with some light blue. And in this sky, we're just working and making some atmosphere. So there's going to be some different layers of clouds in it. Now I don't want to bring in this blue too much right here because in a second I'm going to come in with a dry, soft bristled brush and I'm going to blend all this together. Right there I'm just adding a little bit of lavender. Here's that dry brush I speak of. And here you're barely touching your canvas, you're just kind of moving around that top layer of paint and smoothing everything out. So that gives you some misty clouds. It was just some white to brighten it up a little bit. And back in with that dry brush. And in paintings, we're going to be doing a lot of this. Get a couple of those big dry brushes because after a couple of these passes, they're not going to be dry anymore. They're going to be covered in paint. Excuse me. Here I'm coming in, I'm going to show you how I make some of these other clouds. This is a pretty small brush. I loaded it up with some white paint, doing some small little circles and kind of just pushing in and up on the canvas. And at the bottom of the clouds, I sort of blend them out. And the parts that you want lighter on your clouds, you touch the canvas less. Just press your brush less. Excuse me. I believe this is just a clean brush, and I'm just kind of pushing that paint around and lightening up some parts of that cloud. The cool thing about these clouds too, you can go in with just a clean, wet brush, and it'll pick up some of that white paint and show you some of that background behind it. So here I just grabbed some of the paint that I already had on my brush, make some more clouds. Let's do some clouds over here. Same thing, I'm just pushing in and up, and you can flip your brush over, and it'll give you those organic swirls in your clouds. Now this one's going to be a little bit lighter, a little bit mistier, so we're going to blend it more into the background. Excuse me. So this one's just going to kind of disappear and kind of fuzz it out. And again, when you want your paint lighter, just touch your canvas a little bit lighter and it'll work. There you go. I'm just pushing in and up, making those crisp lines of those clouds. Why not? I'm going cloud happy. There you go, and I'm leaving some of that dark underneath the cloud, again, just to show some atmosphere and some depth. And there you go. Got a bunch of clouds. Just touching them up, coming in with a loaded paintbrush and just brightening up some spots right there. All right, I think we're gonna call it on the sky. I loaded up a medium flat brush with a dark blue on one side and a lighter blue on the other side, like left and right. And when you do this, you want to make sure that your brush is really saturated with paint, because you really only want to do one smooth pass across the top to make that horizon line, or else it's like liquid eyeliner, you guys. You're going to just be chasing it forever, and next thing you know, it's going to be crooked and it's going to be super thick and it's not going to be attractive. So just try and do that. Okay, this is just some lighter blue, and then we'll come in a minute and prime the bottom of this painting with white paint. We didn't do it earlier because by the time we'd have got done with the clouds, it would have been dried anyways. So now we're priming our canvas with a thin layer of some white paint, dragging in some of those other blues. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that oceans are not really my thing. I actually can't think of a time. Maybe one time I painted an ocean, but you know, I'm not comfortable with it. Just wanted to try something new. And there's your beach. You start with your darker brown towards the water, because that's where your sand gets wet. Back here is going to be a little bit lighter, and then behind that, even a little bit lighter. So just blend it out. See, I'm staying away from where the beach meets the water right now because I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. Like I said, I've not done this before. I just thought give it a try and see what it looks like. So I'm a bit gun shy and I'm staying away from it for now, but we'll get there. There you go. That's going to be your lightest blue that you have. Very lightly, just kind of blending and dusting it over parts of that brown to make it look like the water's kind of washing over the sand. I don't know. I think it came out pretty good. So far, so good. This is all just blending. You see, I haven't added any more paint in a while. I'm just pushing around this paint and blending it all together, trying to create some deep spots and some highlights. And then I just blend away, you know. Here you go. That's one of your highlight colors. I'm just blending that that water into the sand a bit. Still trying to crisp up that horizon line. I'm still not happy with it, but you know. And this just kind of happened. I was like, oh, well, let's see what this looks like. And I just kind of drug the paint that I had on the brush down here to sort of try and create some movement and some highlights and some depth in the ocean. Don't know what that's about. I tried to get rid of it a couple times. I'm not sure. Just ignore it. So here I'm putting in some surf, I believe it's called. I'm just going along one of those lines that I made with some white paint, doing a couple little circles, and then flipping my brush kind of back and forth and staying on those lines. Like I said, I don't really know what I'm doing there, but here I'm throwing in some highlights. Just darkening up that beach a little bit and bringing some of that beige back up into that water and Trying to make sure that those are really blended. And then just brightening up that corner again. I'll link these paints below. Most of them I'm really happy with and they glide really well. So I was thinking about bringing in some darker colors and I was like, no. I'm just going to leave it. It's looking okay. So guys, I can't draw. I don't claim to be a drawer. This is my boat. I spent a long time drawing it. It was not easy for me. And this is a little trick that I have so you don't erase a bunch of times on your canvas and mess up your background. Just draw whatever you're going to do on something else, make it as good as you can, and then trace it on your canvas. You can adjust the angle of it, you can decide if it's too big or too small, and it's just way easier. And it's not cheating because I did draw it. So, and to be honest, I drew another one before this, and it was way better. It was a little bit smaller. I cut it out and I lost it. So this is my second one. So here I'm putting in some shadows and some highlights from the boat. That's my boat so far. I believe I'm going to come in. I'm loading a small flat brush with some dark blue paint. Some dark brown. Now that first pass with that dark brown was really good, but later you'll see me struggle with it. It just is not like you can't build on top of it. You have to wait until it dries. And I don't think that I've ever painted a boat before either, let alone a boat from Thailand. Right now it kind of looks like a banana, but it'll get better. It's just some white paint for your highlights. I was trying to make this boat look a little more weathered. I'm trying to crisp up that line right there with just a clean, wet brush. I'm pushing the paint back where it's supposed to be. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I struggled a little bit with this boat. But new neural pathways are hard and rewarding when you actually do it. So that's me struggling with that brown. It just will not stick. It's looking okay. We got a boat. Now it needs a canopy. So now I'm just doing the roof of the canopy, laying down some bright white. Oh, there it is. That's a pretty good shot of the surf as well, and where the sand kind of blends into the water. Here I'm adding some red. Excuse me. And here I'm realizing that the white paint that I just laid down is still too wet to get the pop of red, and it's turning pink, which is not what I want. So I'm just going to leave that alone for a minute and let that white paint dry. Just let it be. So I'm coming back in with that same red that I had on the roof, and that's the difference. You put down this red on a dry canvas, which is that background that you've already done, and it pops like that. You put it on that wet canvas up top, and that's what it looks like. It looks pink. So now that it's a little bit drier, I can come back in. And this brush is really good. I'll link it below. It's really good for fine detail work, which they don't last long with me because I also use my fine brushes to blend with, so I kind of fray out the ends of them. But this brush is holding up very well. Just some more contrast here. I don't know, guys. I think I'd say we got a boat. I'm not entirely sure what this is. I don't think it's an oar. That would be crazy big. I'll have to ask Nikki what that is, and I'll link it, or I'll comment below and let you guys know. Maybe some kind of an anchor. Not sure. Oh, guys. Here I'm messing again with that reflection in the water. And I mean, I'm here for a hot minute, and for everyone's sake, I sped it up. And I mean, it's pretty painful to watch, and I'm still not happy with the shadow. But at some point, you have to just roll with it, you know. So that point will come up here in a minute. Okay. Excuse me. Alright, I believe we're done there. I'm gonna add some highlights in the water. And here I'm not reloading my brush, I'm just kind of using the paint I already have. I'm coming back in and just, I believe that's just some more dark blue. Yeah. And some white, lightening up that part of the boat right there. And add those red and white ribbons. And here it's important, since you are going to add that red again, that same lesson, you want to let that white dry as much as possible, or else you're going to get pink. So I'm keeping myself busy over here, adding some more shadows to the boat, just kind of obsessing about the boat. So I believe I'm done waiting for that white to dry, and I'm loading up that same brush with some red, yep, coming in and laying it down. Pretty much every time I have red on that brush, I'm going to go back and highlight and brighten the parts of the painting that are supposed to be bright. If they're bright, you can just keep adding it and brighten it more. I'm just coming in with some white to crisp up that red line. So here I'm just coming in with a clean brush, and I'm grabbing some of that red that's already on the canvas, because I just want this to be a slight reflection and a slight hint of red in the water. I don't want it to be real harsh. So it's pretty watered down. And when you see me go away, I'm tapping that brush on a paper towel to get rid of that excess color. So it's not so overwhelming. It's just a hint of it. I'm just coming back in and doing the final brightness on this boat, the little weathered parts of it, and just kind of go back and forth with that white, barely touching the canvas, very lightly. When you get done with that, guys, let's say you're about done. It's not bad. I mean, I like it. The colors are nice and serene. It's really pretty. So that's it. Have fun and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thailand.